So here we are in Act 1, Scene 3, and you have thunder again, and the three witches enter. And you'll notice, I want you to notice anyway, the rhyme that happens, and that's something that we've been familiar with. In the day, the audiences might not have been so familiar with this, but every time we've seen Scooby-Doo or any sort of witchcraft, we have a lot of rhyming when those spells are cast, and they do a lot of that here as well. And I don't think that we're going to see that they're very nice people. Where hast thou been, sister? Killing swine. Sister, where thou? And she has this story about meeting up with someone. A sailor's wife had chestnuts in her lap and munched and munched and munched. Give me, quoth I. Aroint thee, witch, the rump-fed Runyon cries. So get away from me, witch. Her husband's to Aleppo gone, master of the Tiger. Put in a sieve, I'll thither sail, and like a rat without a tail, I'll do. So first off, a sieve has a lot of holes in it, and she's going to use it to sail on this body of water, so a little supernatural, and she's going to head all the way over to Aleppo. So this is interesting. I'll give thee a wind, says the second witch. Thou art kind, and I another. I myself have all the other, and the very ports they blow, all the quarters that they know, in the shipman's card, I'll drain him dry as hay. Sleep shall neither night nor day hang upon his penthouse lid. He shall live a man forbid, weary 7 nights, 9 times 9 shall he dwindle, peak and pine. Though his bark cannot be lost, yet it shall be tempest tossed. She's just committed some spell on this poor sailor, all because the sailor's wife would not give up some chestnuts that she was munching, and she was rude to this lady, this witch, I say lady, in quotation marks, and she's going to make sure that he has a hard time on the water. 7 nights, 9 times 9, he's not going to be able to sleep, so no sleep shall have his penthouse lid, the lids of his eyes. He's going to have lots of wind, be tempest tossed. Nobody wants to be in the middle of a storm as a sailor. So now she's got some ingredients to go into what her spell is. Show me, show me. Here I have a pilot's thumb. So there's no airplanes. It would be the pilot of the ship. Wrecked as homeward he did come. And now we hear drums. And they would have pronounced the coming of someone important, and these people are in the military, and it sounds like they're coming in their direction, and they know who it is. A drum, Macbeth doth come. And now they say together, the weird sisters hand in hand, posters of the sea and land, thus do go about, thrice to thine, and thrice to mine, and thrice again to make up 9. Peace, the charm's wound up. And so it's a charm, it's some sort of spell. And we don't really know what's going on yet, but we will. And now we entered with Macbeth and Banquo. Macbeth had just had a great victory. Banquo's by his side. And look at that first phrase. So if you're taking notes, this is when I would say, this is pretty important. He exclaims, so foul and fair a day I have not seen. And I think we can understand, if we can imagine what it would be like in battle. They have won. That's the fair. It's foul. The weather's terrible. We've already seen thunder and lightning. There's a lot of blood. There's been traitors. There's been backstabbing. There's been real stabbing. So this paradox is true, as paradoxes are, and yet they seem opposite. So Banquo starts. How far is it called to Forez? What are these? So withered and so wild in their attire, that look not like the inhabitants of the earth, and yet are on it. So I probably should have paused a little bit more there. He is just talking to Macbeth, and then he does pause. What are these? And he's talking about the witches. He doesn't know if they're human. They look like the inhabitants of the earth, but yet not. And he speaks to them. Live you? Or are you aught that man may question? You seem to understand me by each at once her choppy finger laying upon her skinny lips. You should be women, and yet your beards forbid me to interpret that you are. So even here, I think they look a bit more attractive in this book's depiction, but they have beards, and he wasn't quite sure they were human in the first place, and so they probably are a tiny bit on the ugly side, and he's talking directly to them, questioning what they are. Macbeth takes over. Speak if you can. What are you? And now watch. This is what you're writing down. These are the things I want you to notice, how they greet him. All hail, Macbeth. Hail to thee, Thane of Glamis. Second witch. All hail Macbeth, hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor. And the third witch tops it. All hail Macbeth, that shalt be king hereafter. So those are three quite exciting ways to greet Macbeth. So Banquo happens to catch Macbeth and he notices the look on his face. Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things that do sound so fair? And there's our word fair again. In the name of truth, are ye fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly ye show, my noble partner, you greet with present grace and great prediction of noble having and of royal hope, that he seems rapt withal? So Macbeth must have that sort of stunned look on his face from these greetings. To me you speak not, says Banquo. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me, who neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate. So if you've got all these great things to say about Macbeth, maybe they're predictions, maybe they're just sweet words, where's mine? And they do hail him. And listen, these are a bit more confusing. Hail, 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 lesser than Macbeth and greater. So now we're talking in paradoxes. Not so happy, yet much happier. Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo. Banquo and Macbeth, all hail. So he's going to be lesser than Macbeth, yet greater, not so happy yet happier, and he's not going to be king, but his children will be kings. That's that biblical word of get. He's going to father kings. And then they look like they're starting to go. Stay, you imperfect speakers, tell me more. By Sinel's death I know I am Thane of Glamis. We can infer that Sinel was his father. But how of Cawdor? The Thane of Cawdor lives a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief, no more than to be Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greetings. Speak, I charge you. And then the witches vanish. So if Cawdor lives, he can't very well be Cawdor. But how do you become king? You're either the son of a king and the king dies and you receive the crown. But if that's not the way, you probably have to have a coup or kill the king in some way and then claim it. Neither of these seem to be something Macbeth is considering. He's quite surprised by this. I'm going to pause now so that this video isn't too long, and I'm going to come back at the next line.